So you're not just marrying someone who God had selected for you, now you're also marrying into the 4 years of delay that God did not designate for you. Oftentimes, prophetic words within the realm of marriages are not always settled matters. In fact, they tend to be unsettled matters. The reason is because the free will of a man is also involved. The reason why prophecies around marriages are not settled matters is because they're based upon the obedience of someone to come into alignment with the will of God. For instance, if you're supposed to get married at the age of 26, and this is 2025, and you're turning 26 this year, and your spouse, your partner, is also turning 26 this year, if the progress they were supposed to make in the space of 4 years, we are now in 2025, and they still haven't made that progress, then them marrying you is now an unsettled matter. Because the two become one. So you're not just marrying someone who God had selected for you, now you're also marrying into the 4 years of delay that God did not designate for you. So even though, yes, that person was supposed to be the spouse that God had prepared for you, there's also what we call balances in the realm of the spirit. Balances. And these balances are predicated upon what's essential for your destiny and your calling. So in the scale of balances, it might be that she's a wonderful woman, she has an amazing character, but because you're a man of God, what's most important within that facet is she must be someone who's nurturing and compassionate. Even if she is a wonderful woman, but she's not compassionate, she's a great entrepreneur, she's a great speaker, but she doesn't have compassion towards people, and she doesn't have patience, at that moment in time, because of the 4 years that she didn't develop, and because of the time where you find yourself in your prophetic destiny, God would then find someone who's suited. Because even though you might say, oh no, God redeems the time and I can just marry them and everything. No. If you are supposed to be manifesting, if your season of manifestation, even from the day you were born, was for you to manifest at 25, God is aware that in case this person doesn't come into alignment, there must be another person. So with this now, let's answer the question. Is there just one person meant for you? Well, there's one type meant for you. Okay? There's a type of a man designed for your category. There's a type of a woman designed for people within your arena of calling. When it comes to God-fearing man and God-fearing woman, any woman can marry a God-fearing man, any man can marry a God-fearing woman. But when it comes to sentimental or specific areas, such as marrying a prophet, marrying an apostle, marrying someone in the presbytery, you don't just marry because they're God-fearing. An apostle doesn't just marry a God-fearing woman. An apostle has to marry an apostle's wife. A prophet has to marry a prophet's wife. That's why there are ladies that may tell you that from their youth they knew they were called to marry a man of God. It's a calling. Because they'll also be entrusted with his ministry. So that training is given to them. And they're trained in fruits and heart. So this is just an example so you get to understand why the area of marriage can be an unsettled matter. Another area which can be unsettled matters is this area of finances. Finances can be unsettled matters. The reason why finances can be an unsettled matter is because when it comes to finances, finances has to do with your ability to steward. And God also weighs your performance in stewarding past seasons and resources. So God doesn't want to pass on much substance to unprofitable or unfaithful stewards. You're given money to invest in your business, and you take that money and you spend it on holidays, trips, hair, and you waste the investor's money. You're an unfaithful steward. You're given money to pay for your school fees, and instead you pay for all the activities you're going to do in leisure and in enjoyment at school, instead of actually using it to advance your education. You're an unfaithful steward. The ignorant assumption of believers is to assume that when God is testing us, he's testing us in areas of our comfort. He knows you can pray 3 hours. He knows you can pray 5 hours. He knows you can fast for 3 days without food or water. But the test doesn't always come in the most conventional form. Yes, God can just test you by raising a tree for Jonah. And then while Jonah's under that tree, he's happy because there's shade, and then God removes the tree. Don't get comfortable in what I bought. It belongs to me. And then Jonah says, but Lord, you took away the tree. And the Lord says, so why are you angry that I took away the wrath and I turned away my wrath from Israel, the people that I was going to judge? Sometimes you can rest in a matter that was unsettled. Jonah's prophecy was not a settled matter. It was conditional, based upon the obedience of the people. It's just like matters when it comes to presidency and elections. Those matters are not always settled matters. So stop just going around calling prophets false because they missed. A prophet is not false because they missed a prophecy. You don't become a false prophet because you missed in the prophetic. That's not the sign of a false prophet. Because there are witches, necromancers, wizards that can also make predictions that are accurate. So if missing makes you false, does accuracy make you correct? So does that then mean that the necromancers, the wizards and warlocks are now correct? No, not at all. And sometimes what will happen is, this is why we have to be conscious that even in times like this, where God has opened up windows and opportunities for us in spaces such as cryptocurrency and other financial markets, there are some prophetic words that if you share them, you can bring delay for everybody else. Yes. Listen to me. If there's a cryptocurrency that's going to make everybody multimillionaires overnight, and then Brother Josh, who plays the keyboard at church, hears about this project, but he's only just recovering from a pornography addiction, and he's also maybe just recovering from a gambling addiction, the prophecy might be accurate. But if Josh hears that prophecy and he invests, is that the right timing for him to become a millionaire? Is he not still under spiritual rehabilitation, where he's regaining his strength and focus? And for the sake of Josh, God will delay that coin from moving or delay that investment from working until Josh leaves. Not because God doesn't want Josh to succeed, but because it's not the right time for Josh to receive that sort of lifting. Yes, because if the boat is supposed to be heading to Tarshish, but Jonah's been sent to Nineveh, the moment Jonah comes on the boat, he delays everybody else from arriving at their destination. So there are some things you share them, and even though they were supposed to happen, because they were shared prematurely or they were shared carelessly, God has to delay. If there's an investment, if there's an opportunity, but there are more Egyptians with their hands than the children of Israel with their hands on, or that advancement only gives the Egyptians greater strength over the children of Israel, so then the matter is disclosed for a moment. Settled matters, unsettled matters. So I want you to do this. You can pause the video. You identify what the Lord said he's bringing to pass in your life. And then I need you to carry out a spiritual due diligence and see, and you'll carry this out in prayer, whether the matter is settled or unsettled. Usually, if there's a promise, the promise has been made by the Lord, as long as you are walking in obedience and remain faithful unto the Lord, then that matter, if it's filed in the heavenly courts as recompense or restoration, it's settled.